sharing one of my favorite foods, which is greens. All right. And people have different experiences with greens. For some people, greens are just spinach. Other people, they may fall back on their childhood and they've had mustard and turnip or just collard or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter because greens is one of the best things that you can eat. In fact, everything that we talk about today and everything that we use today is going to be good for your brain. And that's what everything is all about. So when you talk about greens, I can eat them every day, probably 5 out of 7 days a week. I definitely do. Why? You don't have to cook them all day. And I know a lot of us, were raised with greens was a big event and they simmered in the pot, for hours upon hours. And, they cooked so long that what they call the pot liquor, right? The pot liquor was more nutritious than the greens itself because you cooked all the nutrients out, the greens, but it was still good and it's what it was that we knew at that time. Also, at that time, many of us in terms of seasoning our food, relied on things like salt pork, hammocks, and things like that. So what you're going to see today is totally plant-based. I've used no animal products in it, whatsoever. But I guarantee you one thing, it will have the taste, the texture, and the flavor that was going to make you just say, I didn't know that I can do it. So my job today is to teach you how to make Southern style greens, right? Without meat. And it's going to taste good too. So I have 3 different kinds of greens with me today. And you can actually do this recipe with any, types of greens, whether it's kale, cabbage, collards, mustard, turnip. You can do it with anything, that you choose. But today I'm going to use 3 types. The first type of greens that I'm going to use is collards, which is, probably familiar with most people. You can actually eat collards raw, if you like to, and as far as a roll up is concerned, you can braise them. You can, some people steam them, but I'm going to cook it today in the Southern style that I think everybody, will enjoy. The ones that I have today have like small stems to it. So if you had one that had like a larger or maybe a tougher stem, then what you would want to do is just either cut it out or rip it, out, if that's what it is that you want to do. Some people like a lot of stems, in their greens, and so it's really a personal preference. But when you have the thick stems in it like that, what happens is that it takes longer for the greens to cook. So one of the greens we're going to use is good old-fashioned collards. I grew so many collards last year that really I finally just went through, the last 2 bags that were in my freezer. And they were just as good as the day I picked them. The other greens that we're going to use is Swiss chard. And in fact, today we have rainbow, Swiss chard. These again are just really, really good. And this time with the stems, we're not going to take these out because these stems are really flavorful, and we're going to actually use them, when we get ready to cook our greens. And then the last one that we're going to do is really my personal favorite, and that is lacinato kale. Okay. Now I don't know about you, but again, when I grew up, I didn't know anything about kale. Now, am I telling my age? Yeah, I'm telling my age. I'm 70 years old. But, my parents I didn't know anything, about kale. But I do now. This lacinato kale is also known as elephant kale, is just so nutrient dense. I put it like that. And as with any of the dark leafy greens, all of the greens are good for your brain. And you really should be having at least 6 servings, a week. Now, one of the great things about greens is this. If you take and make a big pot full, you can eat off of it for the rest of the week. You can freeze it if you have, too much left over. But you can't go wrong, when you got a good old pot of greens, on your hands. All right. I'm also going to use some other ingredients that you may not be familiar with. All right. I do add other vegetables, to the greens. Again, everything is about the brain, right? So we're going to have onions in there. We're going to have garlic in there. We're going to have bell pepper in there. I'm going to have some carrots in there. I'm going to have some hot peppers in there, at least just one hot pepper. This actually I grew this in my garden too. And it's a jalapeno pepper, and my peppers were really, really hot. And I don't know if anybody knows what this is. Okay. And if you wanted to put they have access to the chat, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So if anybody recognizes this particular vegetable, you want to put it in the chat?
I'm not seeing any responses.
Okay, they may not know, that's why. That's because again, they may not know, what it is. But this is a golden beet. A golden beet. Now, why would I put a golden beet in greens? I absolutely love the color. We eat with what it is that we see first. And so if we see something that looks good, then we're more apt to go ahead and try and taste this. I also like the golden beets because it doesn't stain your hands like the red beets do, but it's also really, really sweet and good. So if you like turnips, in your greens, then you're absolutely gonna love the golden beet, and we're gonna use that today too, all right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pot going, and we're going to start sauteing vegetables, in here. And so what I'm going to be using, I have actually 2 oils here today. I have avocado oil, which is a healthy oil, and it's good in terms of if you needed something that had a high heat point, all right? But also too, the extra virgin olive oil is really good. If you are going to use oil, again, as we talk about brain, and omega-3, you will find them in the olive oil. So we're going to use that, today. You're going to get a recipe that has all the measurements in it. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to measure. I kind of do this in my sleep, for the most part. All right. So my burner should be, yes, there it goes. On now. With the beets, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add veggies to my pot based upon how long it takes for it to cook. All right. Another option, if you didn't want to saute, the beets and you really had the time, is to roast it in the oven. What I like about roasting in the oven is that it really, really brings out the flavor of vegetables. All right. But we're not going to use the oven today. We're going to use just one pot. So get that in real quick and get that started. Then I'm going to take the stems from the Swiss chard, okay, that I just showed you, looking like this. I'm going to take the stems from the Swiss chard and we're going to cut those off. And I'm not going to use the chard itself, the green leafy chard, because it doesn't take long to cook. In fact, the Swiss chard, or rainbow chard as it's sometimes called, cooks like spinach. So it cooks really fast. So again, what I want to do is just get the stems in the pot. It adds color as well as it adds texture, to it. Now, my understanding too is that if anybody has any questions as we go along, please, ask the questions, and I do everything I can to go ahead and answer them. So that was just a quick chop. As chunky as it goes in. I actually like chunky vegetables. Some people like to cut things up really fine. I don't. I like it chunky. I always say I like to see, my veggies. I'm also going to add leeks, all right, which is in the onion family. Again, good for the brain. And instead of throwing away the end pieces, let me tell you a little trick that I have, is that all of these end pieces, the onion peels, the garlic peels, all of that goes into a little pot, right? And what I do is at the end of the week, then I simmer this either in the crock pot overnight with water and make my own vegetable stock. It is absolutely great. And you know what? It also saves you money. Now, you can't do it with everything. You can't put the stems of the greens in because they might be bitter. You don't want to turn your stock bitter. And I'm telling you all this, but I'm actually going to use packaged stock today because I used all my other stock up Sunday when I decided to go ahead and do a dinner. All right. So I'm going to add some leeks to the pot. I have some sweet onion. I love sweet onion. Add sweet onion, to the pot. Carrots, I add for texture, and it gives it a little bit flavor. Bell pepper, again, for the color. So my greens aren't going to be all drab and looking like they all cooked out. They're going to be fresh and vibrant, and the added vegetables in there helps to make that happen. I don't know if you all can see this or not. Y'all tell me, can you see it? Can you see the pot? You see the veggies? We just let it. While those are sauteing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my collards ready. And the reason why is because collards take longer to cook than all the other greens that are there, even if you just stem them. And because I know that, I'm going to make sure that I get them in as soon as my vegetables that I got in the pot now are a little bit more translucent, and we'll add the collards. What I also like to do when I'm cooking my greens, and it's different for different people. Some people like to have large, leaves, and never ever put the whole leaf in the pot. Don't do that. I saw that on TikTok. I'm like, oh my God, no, she didn't. She put the whole leaf in there. She just loves kind of crazy things too. But anyway, don't do that. So you go cut it up or tear it up, whatever your preference is. Just give us a little more stir. All right. And so what I'm going to do with the collards is that I'm going to roll them so that they are almost evenly cut. It's like a cigar. It's like I'm rolling a cigar or something, right? Okay. So I'm rolling them like I would a cigar. And then now what I'm doing is I'm cutting them kind of like in small strips, not too thin, but just, thin enough so that it cooks in the amount of time that I want it to cook in, which is about 20 minutes. So this again. Now you should be able to smell this. And because I'm so used to cooking, I don't really smell anything. No, I don't have COVID. I never had COVID. But I just don't, I guess I'm so used to cooking that I just don't smell it when I'm in the midst of it. All right. I'm gonna add the garlic now. And garlic, I'm kind of adding last because garlic, believe it or not, will burn fast. But there's nothing like fresh garlic. And you see these little peels that you all usually throw in the garbage? Goes right here in my stock pot. So I'm gonna smash this garlic. One, go ahead and get the peels off. Secondly, go ahead and release all the good garlic oil that comes when you smash the garlic. Get another one. I actually like a lot of garlic. I can use like 8 cloves of garlic and not even be concerned with it. And you know what? Garlic is a good blood purifier. I guess that's why Dracula was afraid of it, right? But it's known to be a good blood purifier too, helping with reducing blood pressure. Oh, you know what? Something else I should mention to you all. I am not going to use any salt. Okay? I'm not going to use any salt. And the reason why is that many people in our community have hypertension issues. And a large part of the stems, not only just from our DNA, which is the hardest to get away from, but it stems from the fact that we just consume, too much salt. Now, I didn't say that I was not going to have sodium in my food because many of the products that I'm going to be using, the bouillon and things like that, has sodium already in it. Therefore, there's no need for me to add, any more sodium. And truth be told, is that salt really is not a seasoning. Salt is a preservative, you know? Long, long ago, before they had refrigeration and things like that, they would use salt to go ahead and preserve food, right? So there's no need to use it. And in fact, if you do use salt, salt is just simply a flavor enhancer. All right, it's not supposed to season your food. If your food is well prepared, then you don't have to add a whole bunch of salt. If you season your food well, using onion and garlic and other things like that, you don't have to worry about it. Now with the I'm cutting up this jalapeno from my garden. I know that it's hot. I caution you that whenever you use it, really hot peppers, to use gloves, because the last thing you want to do is get that in your eyes. And if you want more of just the flavor of the hot pepper and not the heat, then don't use the seeds. But I'm going to use the seeds because I like it hot. All right. So this is sauteed really good. I'll hold up the pot again so you all can see. You see? That's just where I want it to be. I'm going to add the collards. And again, I said, remember I said that I wanted to add the collards first because they take longer to cook than what the other greens do. So add them first. Stir it. Now you notice I haven't put any water or liquid in it yet. And the reason that I haven't is because the greens and as well as other vegetables, they actually kind of make their own liquid. So you don't have to, you don't have to boil them to death, as I've seen, people do. You don't have to do that at all. All right. So while that's cooking down, I'm gonna add some more collards. Another dish that I make that's a favorite of my customers is black and white greens, which is just simply collards with cabbage. So I'm just deveining these real quickly. Everything was washed in advance, so you sitting there saying, "Oh, she didn't even wash those greens." Yes, I did. These up, small like I told you of. The way I had learned about black and white greens was from my Aunt Martha years and years ago. I was doing a program up at one of the prisons for the holidays. And I wasn't a chef or anything at that time. I was just, had a good heart. And there were several other women who said they would do it with me. And when it was time to do it, everybody backed out. And I didn't know what to do. So I turned to my aunt, who's an elder. And she said, "Honey, you ain't got to make all those collards. You better add some cabbage to that and make it black and white green." I'm like, "What?" Man, that has become a recipe that I have passed on, throughout my family, since then. Okay. And it has definitely served us well. So I also like to season my food in layers. So I got the collards in. I'm going to add a little magic. And it's called liquid smoke. So when we talk about things that we're accustomed to with Southern, style cuisine, the hammocks and the smoked turkey butts and what else? Hammocks, smoked turkey butts, whatever else they do. All right, that smokiness taste that can come in through the liquid smoke. You don't even have to use it. All right, and it gives you that flavor, that you're longing for, that you're looking for. You also have to be careful with liquid smoke too, because you don't want your food to come out tasting like an ashtray. Right? All right, so now I'm going to use the lacinato kale. The last greens to go in is definitely going to be the Swiss chard. So I'm cutting those up really small. I don't have to destem these. They usually have a pretty thin kind of stem in it. If you wanted to destem it, you could, but I don't find it necessary. And again, you can't put the Swiss chard or the greens stems into your food. I mean, into your stock pot because it'll turn it bitter. All right. Let's get some more lacinated kale. And it's cooking down and sauteing pretty good. I actually can smell it. Okay, so it smells good. Y'all think it smells good?
It does smell really
And guess what? You all be able to try it. So if you wonder, like, where you at? You know, I'm like, I'm at Triple B Cafe. You know, if you lived in the neighborhood, I wouldn't mind if you came back to go ahead and get a taste of some. Triple B Cafe is a pay what you can cafe, and it's located 4424 West North Avenue. All right, and so if you're in the neighborhood, hey, stop on by. I don't mind people. Or at least let you taste. So if you say where the cornbread is at, all that stuff, that's at home. I made that yesterday, but no cornbread here today. So again, with the Nine diet, you know, we think about those foods that are good for the brain. They say 6 servings of greens that you should have, you know, per week. And so because we have this variety in here, that's not gonna be anything, you know? That's not gonna be anything. So let me add some more seasoning. This is onion powder, even though I have onions in it. Onion powder. Add some garlic powder. Those of you on the line, you will receive the recipe. Turn this up some more. And then you notice that I still have not added any liquid to the pot. You know, when you look at it, you see how gorgeous they're looking? They're bright, they're vibrant, they're colorful, and they smell good. Okay, so now I'm going to cut up the Swiss chard. Remember I said it cooks fast like spinach. So it's very easy for this to be the last greens to go in. Or if you were making it at home, you know, you wanted a quick dinner and again, you want the greens to, you know, in your pot, it's really, really, you know, it cooks down really, really fast. Okay, put those in. Top stir. And like I said, the Swiss chard cooks really fast like the spinach does. And so it wilts down really fast. Look at that. You almost can't even see where it's at. I'm going to I'll add a little stock now. You could add water if you wanted to, but you know, I'm so into the flavors and I like my flavors to be intense that I don't use the water because I don't want to water my food down. And this is vegetable stock, y'all, not chicken stock. I have some Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. And you know what? Make sure you read the label because all Worcestershire sauce is not vegan. You got to read the label. You know, so if you're trying to stay away from the anchovies that are typically in, you know, the sauce, then, you know, again, check your brand and make sure you read the labels, which I'm in the habit of doing anyway, because you'd be surprised. There are so many things that are quote unquote accidentally vegan, right? Like Oreos. Can you believe that? Oreo cookies are accidentally vegan. So that means I didn't have to miss out on that, right? When we changed over. All right. So this is coming along really good. Add a little more stock. As I said, I layer, you know, I flavor in layers. I'm going to add some better than bouillon to this. They need to give me a sponsorship for this, but because it is absolutely the best that you can use. And this one is a vegetarian one, and it's called a no chicken base. Okay, so again, make sure you pick up, you know, the right one. So as I talked to you all about not using table salt, this is the reason why. Because many of the products that I use have sodium in it already. Just like, you know, the bouillon that I have right now, that has a level of sodium in it. The Worcestershire sauce has some sodium in it. The vegetable stock may have some sodium in it. Everything does. And we want to be mindful in terms of our health that we don't go over, you know, what's daily allowed for sodium. Our daily intake of sodium should be only 2,500 milligrams of sodium a day. I was at an event one time and I was doing this and I asked that question, how many people know how much sodium we should take in? And embarrassingly enough, there was an ER doctor in the audience and he didn't know. And the reason he didn't know is because he worked in ER. I'm like, okay, you don't know why people come in their blood pressure so high? But anyway, no, he did not know. He's saying, well, they don't teach him that in medical school. Well, I'm telling you now, 2,500 milligrams of sodium should be our average intake today. You know, there's some people that may have to be lower than that because they have other issues, you know, that they're working on. But whatever it is, you know, you want to be mindful of it. I just tossed in a little bit piece of pepper that was left with the stem on it. So, you know, my stock is going to be a little bit spicy. It's a little bit piece of garlic that I'm not going to use. I put that in. You know, again, the scraps from the greens, we can't put that in the stock pot because it would make it bitter. Okay. So I'm going to move this out of the way while our greens are continuing to simmer. Again, if you all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I believe somebody's monitoring the chat so they can help out with that.
Yeah, I'm watching the chat.
Or they can raise their hand. Can they
Yeah.
talk?
Yeah, feel free to
unmute.
unmute anybody.
Yeah,
feel
if you have
free.
a question, just raise your hand. Or you do like they do in my family, when we get on the family chat, everybody try and talk at one time. I'm like, y'all, that is not gonna work. But it'd be funny. It's funny. It's funny.
I have a question. I'm wondering, do you ever, when they're in season, or you have them in the garden maybe, or you just have them on hand for something else? Do you mix in leafy herbs like basil or parsley or things of that nature ever, rosemary?
Not in the greens, but I will in my other food. I do grow herbs too. But I don't put any herbs in the greens. I haven't found that necessary because I'm looking for a Southern style, you know, profile of it. And so that's what works. All right. In the summertime in the garden, I'm doing this all the time. I do demos in the garden, I do cooking classes in the garden. We're working from garden to, you know, table, and especially, you know, teaching children. I have grandchildren that have been in the garden with me since they were babies. And I have one grandson that started when he was 10 months old. Yeah, he's now 7. And he can take you on a tour of the garden. And when I talk about garden, I'm talking about Alice's garden, a community garden, and show you everything, you know, especially mint. And people have been amazed. It's like, how does this baby just know mint? He does. And he goes and he picks it and he eats it and gives it to other people and show them exactly what they need to do with it. So the garden is a wonderful, you know, place to be. But in terms of herbs, no. In answer to that question, I don't use any herbs in there. Okay. How else do we get our greens in? You know, there's nothing like a great salad. This particular salad has micro greens in it. You know, something that is so nutritious. It's good, you know, for brain health. right? Also has baby green leaf, lettuce in it. And I forget what else I have in here. But it's a really, really great, mix. And what I like about it is that all of the things they say that we should have, to keep us healthy, remain healthy, you can put it in a salad, you know? You can put it in a salad and it'd be perfectly, perfectly fine. So the salad that I'm going to do today, is just simply, with greens as a base. I added some onion to it prior to us coming on. I am going to add, since you talked about herbs, I am going to add a little herbs to it. This is a sprinkle, no salt, that has like 24 herbs and spices in it. Again, what I like about this is that who says that the greens have to be bland? Salad greens have to be bland. No, they don't. You add some herbs to it, it gives a depth of flavor, and it makes people, including yourself, want to eat it even more. All right, so we add a little bit of that. I am going to add tomatoes. How many people know that tomatoes are a fruit? Okay. And most people don't think about it. They see tomatoes as being a vegetable. So tomatoes are indeed a fruit. And I got some nice, cherry tomatoes. Everything I'm using today is organic. All right. And if organic does not fit into your budget, then as long as you're getting things fresh, you're doing better than what it was that you've done. Ideally, with ourselves, we know, what's happening with our soil, or if you buy organic. I like to go to my favorite store and I buy the things that are discounted. You marked it down $1. Ooh, that means I get it for even less than when I started to. So we're just gonna put some cherry tomatoes in here.
Can you show the spice that you had?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is the spice. You want to see it? Yeah. Okay. And unfortunately, you can't find this in just every store. You do find it in some of the better, higher end grocery stores. All right, and then I'm going to add some roasted chickpeas. Okay, roasted chickpeas are a great source of protein. Again, looking at the MIND diet, they say that you should have beans several times a week. And again, the beans don't always have to be, beans that you just cooked or you got bored with it, or beans and rice or anything like that, which is really great. I eat that too. But why not put some roast some chickpeas and add them to the salad? And when you do that, you just added a really, really great protein.
Anna, we got a question. Miss Lenora Brown had her hand up.
Okay.
Hello. The spice that you put in, I didn't get the name of that.
Okay. This one is called Sprinkle 24 Herbs and Spices.
Okay, thank you.
All right. You all got it again?
I can put it in the chat.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat as well.
Yeah, that would be great. So you know what, you all, believe it or not, these greens are almost ready. They're almost ready. All right, so we left off with our chickpeas, going into the salad. The greens have been seasoned. The cherry tomatoes are in here. And the other thing that I read in terms of foods that's good for the brain is berries. I'm like, oh my God, berries? I can eat an entire container of blackberries. That's been my thing. In fact, I have to eat a whole container of blackberries every day. And not because that was good for your brain, but just because it could, in season, wherever they come from, and they've been really, really great. So we got some blackberries, we got some strawberries, and we got some blueberries, all of which are really, really good, for your brain. So you can see how eating healthy can really, really make a difference, in your diet. What else can you add to it? Anything you want. You want to put more onions in it. You want to put some bell peppers in it. You want to put black olives in it. you want to put whatever it is that you want to put in, you know, your salad, you can. And so can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. And I think this might serve about 4 people. I don't know. I have a hard time making a little bit of food, and that's because my family is so large. You know, when the kids were at home, it was like 6 of them at home. But we have like a blended extended family, so it's 15 of them all together. I got 52 grandchildren, right? And I got over 25 great grandchildren with 1 on the way, anytime now. So when it's time for me to cook, so when I try to cook for 2, at a minimum, it's for 6. That's what we said we weren't gonna do.
Yep. Gotta have at least.
Get a fork so I can just taste this a little bit. See if it's ready. And this, you all know it's always important to taste your food before you give it to anybody. But if it don't taste good to you, you know it ain't gonna taste good to nobody else. And the other thing too is that if you do use salt, you can't use salt at the end because it doesn't work right. That's good. Yeah. That's good. I don't think I have to adjust anything. You already taste? We're gonna feel sorry for Ian, or we just gonna taste it for him.
Yeah. Taste vicariously.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I ate before this, otherwise it would be really bad.
Mhm. Oh, you know what? Let me check one thing. I think my carrots are done enough. I didn't check on that. Oh yeah, perfect. So we got 3 people here. And y'all gotta come around so that y'all can taste and get everything set up.
While you're serving there, we could return to a question we had in the chat. Miss Alice Trunnell was wondering if you were gonna have Soul Food Tuesday today at Tricklebee's.
Nope, not today. Not today. I won't be doing that again probably until the almost later spring or summer. But thanks for asking.
Are you doing Fondy Market again this summer on Saturdays?
I'm being recruited to do that, yes. I am being recruited to do that, and if I do, it's going to be just probably one Sunday a month. One of the great things about being retired is that you set your own schedule, so I ain't trying to kill myself, y'all. Okay, so let's have our staff come around. I think it has a little bit of kick to it. I like more kick. Yeah. Now y'all make sure you're in the camera so they can see for sure.
Yeah, step on in, Gail. We want to see your beautiful face.
Yeah.
They're really
flavorful.
Mhm.
Very flavorful. You cannot tell that there's no meat in here.
And no salt.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
salt.
No added salt.
Sorry, y'all. Right. It's really good.
These are virtual bite.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all like that?
Mhm.
Because usually you have smoked meat to get a flavor. You don't need it with this.
Yeah, like I said, you in the neighborhood, you know, come on down. I see a name I think I know. Lenore, do I know you?
Yes, Urban Day.
I thought so.
Now,
I thought so.
what are your restaurant hours?
Uh, we're open Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 2. And I'm here, I cook here on Fridays, every Friday from 11 to 2, as long as I'm in town.
Okay. All right.
Yep, it's good to hear your voice. I saw
Yeah.
your name, I wasn't sure. Okay. Would y'all like to try the salad too? Y'all eating the greens right now. Okay. So as I said, when I look at the kinds of foods that they say, that they tell us that are good for our brain, they're actually foods that we should be eating anyway. You know, there's things like avocado, whether or not you add avocado to your salad or you make a salad dressing with it. Beans, as we did with the chickpeas, you know, you can use, or you can use kidney beans, you can use black eyed peas, you can use any of those beans you can eat, you know, cooked and hot or cooked and cooled off and put into a salad. It's even coffee beats dementia. Now, okay, I think in moderation, probably so, but I do try to have a cup every day. Extra virgin olive oil, as we used in our greens today. Linseeds, which I also found out is flax, which contributes to the omega-3. Herbal teas, again, read your label. Herbs, as I talked about, this particular product has 24 herbs and spices in it, all right? Turmeric, which is good, you know, for blood. It does have a flavor, but it's more for color than anything else, but it does have a medicinal value that's important. Broccoli, I could eat, that's something else I can eat every day, but I don't know what else to cook. I just throw on a head of broccoli. And you know what? We can do so many things with that broccoli, from just putting butter and lemon pepper on it to just having, you know, my husband likes to use it with salad dressing. I don't do that, but he does. You know, he likes to put salad dressing on it, you know, or just eat it plain. Leafy green vegetables, as we saw today, with what I call crazy greens, taking any combination of greens that you want, you know, and putting them together. If you only want a certain size or a certain kind, you can do that. People talk about mustard and turnip, but you know what I found out is that, and I don't know why, yes it do. So mustard and turnip is a bitter green, all right? So why did our grandmothers and stuff put sugar in it? It was supposed to be bitter, you know? So just little note. Different kinds of nuts and seeds, whether or not they're pumpkin seeds or, you know, all kinds of seeds that we have. This mine just went blank on. Mushrooms, man. There's so many things that we could do with mushrooms, and hopefully I'll get a chance to show you all either here or maybe in another cooking session, you know, where I can take an oyster mushroom, I can make it taste like a country fried steak, I can make it taste like a smothered chicken, I can make it taste like fried chicken too, but we won't do that too much. All kinds of things you could do, you know, with the right kind of mushrooms. My daughter, who is a celebrity chef in Charlotte, North Carolina, she won a contest using the lion mane mushroom against somebody who was using some kind of $50 a pound kind of crab, right? She won with a mushroom. Quinoa, which is another grain that we may or may not be familiar with. It's a really small grain. It cooks similar, you know, to rice. Very good grain food. Again, spices are good for us too. Sweet potatoes, which is another go-to food. I don't know what to cook at night, you know, or don't feel like cooking at all. Grab a sweet potato, you know, wash it, put it in a bag, put it in the microwave on the potato setter. That sweet potato comes out. All you got to do is add what you like to add to it. Whether or not for us it's vegan butter, you know, for somebody else it might be some cinnamon or nutmeg. And then, you know, I said herbal teas are good, and then whole grains, you know, that we find. And believe it or not, dark chocolate. All right. Again, in moderation, you don't want to overdo it, you know, on anything. But those are just some of the foods that we can take in that are good for our brain and allows us to be able to function in ways that we didn't even know how. And then with our salad, y'all waiting on the salad? Okay. Yeah. All right, why don't you all come and let's get salad forks. Yeah, I got to get, let's see. Salad dressing. I'm looking down here for salad dressing. There's just one already made. All right, y'all wanna come over? I'll let you go ahead and get your own salad out when I get the salad dressing. I'll be right back. And actually, you know what, you actually, if you wanted to, use a little olive oil on it, but let me see if I can find the salad dressing. It was just here. All right, y'all go ahead and make your plates. Be right back.
Have a question. Do you use plant-based products?
She
She
just
said-
stepped out of the room.
Oh, okay, okay,
She'll be back in a second.
okay, thank you.
I heard him say there was a question.
Yes.
Okay.
You wanna ask me a question?
Yes, I would like to know, do you use any plant-based products?
You mean,
Like
meat
the-
substitutes?
Yes, meat substitutes like the, I think Morning Star is one of the brands.
Mhm.
Right. And I use some of them. So with anything, you know, you want to do it in moderation. All right. So I try not to do too much processed food. All right, but I do it. I do use it. So like if I'm making a meatloaf, a vegan meatloaf, yeah, I will use processed. What are you picking around? Let me help you. Okay, I'm like, what are you picking around? Is that good? Did you get all of it? You I don't see any strawberries in there. Y'all want some greens?
We're really good.
Yeah.
Okay. We just had two people walk in. Like, have some greens? Jerry gotta come in front of the camera though.
I do? Okay.
Yeah, so people get
That's good.
Thank you. Thank you for it. Thank you. Now Julio is real picky. So if he likes something. I'm taking a chance now, all right?
Thank you.
So come over here where I'm at. So yeah, and answer to your question about plant-based, yeah, I definitely do plant-based. I use plant-based products that I buy, but I also make my own. So when I talked about mushrooms, talk about tofu, talk about bean curd, there's a number of other things that you can use other than just, you know, buying what it is that you see in the refrigerated section. But it's a start for people, okay? So I don't knock it, it's a start. As I said, you just don't want to do it every day.
Yeah, I love flavor. That's great.
You like it? Okay,
The flavor's all the way through.
good.
Thank you.
What you think, Julio? He ain't gonna come in front of the camera, but he said, yeah, it's good. Huh? It's flavorful? Well, if Julio says it's good, y'all, I'm telling y'all, it's good. Cause he don't eat everybody's food. I already know that. Right? I already know that.
I love that dressing that you made.
Uh-huh. Is there any questions or comments? Do you have a base recipe to make hamburger? Okay, you say, do I have a base recipe to make hamburger patties? No, because I don't do that. I mean, I can do that, but there's so many products out there that are convenient, and again, I'm not making hamburger every day. You know, so I use, and my favorite is Beyond Burgers. People go between Beyond Burger or Impossible Burgers. My favorite is Beyond Burger, because I can make that like Salisbury steak and make what I call Nacho Mama's meatloaf. I sell burgers every week in the garden, you know, and so I think I got 4 different kinds of burgers, you know, that I sell in the garden, from nacho burgers to vegan soul burgers to Bucks and Six burgers. And I don't know, David, what's your favorite burger?
My favorite?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I went on a big Bucks and Six kick. It is out of a nacho burger.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I do. But I don't make my own burger from like scratch. You know, I could do that, but no, it's too many. Yeah, not necessary. All right. Is it? You like that? Any other questions or comments?
What's your favorite thing to do with the pot liquor that's left over with the greens?
Let me show you something. That's a good question. Because remember when I told you that people just kind of like boil their greens to death, you know, and you don't have to do that. Let me see if I can show you how much pot liquor is actually left. Can y'all see in there?
Oh, wow. Yeah, not too much.
No, you don't have to. And even on their plates, y'all didn't have a whole lot. Yeah. But if I did have it left, I would use it in a soup. You know, I'm real good like at the end of the week, looking at see what kind of leftovers I have. And then I'll create a what I call it, everything but the kitchen sink stir fry, or everything but the kitchen sink super stew. You know, so I don't let anything, you know, go to waste. I'll find a way to use it. So if this doesn't get eaten up, you know, and I think it will, it'll go into a stir fry or a soup at the end of the week. Or you can freeze it. That's the other thing. Okay, yeah, you can freeze it. So if this pot was too much for you, you can freeze it. What vegetables are good if you have to limit vitamin K due to being on blood pressure medicine? You do have to really, really be careful and do your research. And I believe if you have that particular handicap, that you may not be able to do the dark leafy greens. You know, I would definitely suggest that you check with your doctor. All right. I have heard that before. And so I'm not even sure if cabbage is something that you can do, you know, but check with your doctor to find out for sure.
So another
And then
question
I'll-
on there from before from Martin about what type of vegan desserts do you make?
So I'm not I don't consider myself a dessert maker person. It's like I don't need one more bad habit, but my specialty, what people really enjoy, is my peach cobbler. I make peach cobbler with no milk, no eggs, no butter, none of the other stuff that people typically use, which I don't know what it is. Don't do the dishes. Okay, thank you. So yeah, and then I just recently for Mardi Gras, and actually I got to give my daughter credit because I got this from her. A pineapple rum. No, she did pineapple. Did she have rum? I don't know if she did. I did though. Anyway, a pineapple rum cobbler. Man, it was good. That was really good. So right now, those are my 2 claims to fame. I can make a banana pudding upon request. And then I have a partner who's also here on Friday. She's the cafe manager, Tayana. She's the baker. And she makes not cheesecake. She makes cheesecake too. But she makes a vegan chocolate cake, who they say to die for. It's just like, oh my God. So yeah. So you don't have to do everything. You know, my specialty is cooking. You know, it's not limited to just soul food. I also do fine dining. You know, I consult with other chefs to help them, you know, transform their dishes. I say, you tell me your favorite food, and I got a substitute for it that will taste as good or better than what you remember. So far, I tell you, there's only one thing that I have not been able to find a suitable substitute for yet, but I haven't given up, and that's crab legs. Haven't found that yet, but we'll create it. You know, and people were asking, what do you use instead of the prepackaged meat substitutes? I use jackfruit. use hearts of palm. I mentioned all the different kinds, mushrooms, things like that that you can use. So. Any other questions?
There's one about nutritional yeast in the chat. Do you like it? Do you use it?
Do I use nutritional yeast? Yes, I do use nutritional yeast, but I don't overuse it. A lot of times people they put nutritional yeast in everything. Ugh, no, I don't overuse it. I use a nutritional yeast like you use Parmesan cheese. So if I was making spaghetti and I would sprinkle some, nutritional yeast on that. Popcorn, okay? When I make popcorn, which is almost every night, right? I sprinkle some nutritional yeast as well as some liquid aminos, grass, on my popcorn. This gives it kind of the salty taste, and the nutritional yeast gives it the what do you call that? Cheesy, kind of taste. Yeah. When else do I use nutritional yeast? I use it somewhat in my mac and cheese, but I don't overdo it. Some people kind of overdo it, and when you do, your mac and cheese comes out, chalky. My mac and cheese is probably the best vegan mac and cheese you're gonna taste, other than my daughter. My daughter's a champion. She has won all kinds of contests. She's the mac and cheese queen. I give her that, but yeah, I put my mac and cheese up against anybody's. Any other questions? All right, so as we conclude, I just want to remind people that the foods that we need in order to be healthy are not different or strange or odd. They're the kinds of foods that we should be consuming anyway. When we talk about brain health, and I looked at the foods that they said are good for brain health, I'm like, why not? Why not? Why not eat 6 servings, of green foods? That could be salads. That could be, cooked food. Why not eat those, at least 6 times a week? I know I do very easily. When we talk about beans, whether kidney beans, red beans, pinto beans, black eyed peas, which is a legume, not necessarily a bean. Why not incorporate, those foods, into your diet every week, And if you're not one that likes to cook, of course you can come see me. But anyway, if you're not one to cook all the time, when you do cook enough so that you can freeze it. Because almost all of those foods, in the proper containers can freeze and hold really well. And I'm just here to say that when you're looking at, brain health and the things that we can use for our family and friends, it's right there, at our fingertips. And it's not as difficult as you might think it is. All right. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Ian, I think it's time to go.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Fantastic. Yeah, enjoyed.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll send out an evaluation and some resources about the Mind Diet a little later, and we'll also make sure that that you get some recipes as well.
Oh, I forgot to mention one recipe that I didn't do, but they'll get, and that's a 3-bean chili. Okay.
Ooh.
Again, all the good brain stuff in it. Yeah. So that'll be coming to you too.
All right, thank you, everybody. And this was our last Coffee and a Chat for this season, but we'll be back with more in a couple of months, and we'll also be starting our Breaking the Silence workshop series after that event. And we'll be doing Breaking the Silence as well. So feel free to join us for any and all of those, and you can find information about our office and our events at wai.wisc.edu/Milwaukee. Thank you so much. And you can visit Chef Mama Zakia at Trickle B Cafe on Fridays. She's also involved with Alice's Garden, which is a wonderful group. And yeah.
And Fundy Market.
Oh, yep, and Fundy Market. All right. Well, thanks, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sharon, this is the Sister Zakia, this is one of your students, Sharon.
Which one?
Sharon, my daughter, Sharon. Can you see?
Where's she at? Oh, she,
Right
oh,
here.
she, okay. You all have your camera on.
Hey, how are
Sharon, how
you?
you doing?
Good, how are you, Chef?
Good, good. Long time no see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one
Okay.
of her students from Urban Day.
Yep, yep, yep. Y'all gotta come check me out as a chef now, the new career. Well, not so good.
Sure will.
All right, see you soon.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.